Welcome to the PHLY Eagle Show. Training camp is a few days away. I'm Zach Berman, that's Fran Duffy, and we're ready to talk about what we want to learn over these next few weeks at camp. Fran, what's your number one?
My number one is going to be the identity of this passing game. Obviously, the Eagles move on from Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore takes the job down in New Orleans. So Kevin Patullo steps in as the offensive coordinator. Previously, the pass game coordinator. He's been here for the last few years with Nick Sirianni, with Jalen Hurts. So what is the identity of this pass game? Are they going to be a little bit more aggressive, pushing the football down the field, taking advantage of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? Will we see a little bit more what they were a year ago, where it was more about efficiency, get the ball out fast, and then some of those explosives can happen outside of structure? I'm fascinated to see it. I don't know that we'll necessarily. I don't think that we're going to show up to camp on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and see Jalen Hurts going bombs away down the field. But I think that could be like one of those whisper things where it's like, all right, as we talk to people, as camp progresses, we get a better feel for what this offense is going to look like when Jalen Hurts drops back to throw.
Yeah, I'm curious about Jalen Hurts' protection. And what I mean by that is I know who the left tackle, the left guard, the center, and the right tackle are going to be. Those are Pro Bowl caliber players. I don't know about right guard.
Yeah.
And this has been an ongoing theme every year, and they figured it out every year. But the difference is these past few years, we knew by the end of training camp who that right guard was going to be. We knew last year it was Mekhi Becton. We knew 2 years ago it was Cam Jurgens. Is it going to be Tyler Steen this year? I'm going into camp expecting it to be Tyler Steen, but Tyler Steen needs to play well this summer. If Tyler Steen struggles, or if we're talking on August 3rd and you see changes there at right guard, right, where you're starting to see whether it's Matt Pryor or Kenyon Green, like they're having some of those adjustments, then I'm thinking, do they really believe in Tyler Steen? So I want to know who that starting right guard is by the end of the camp, and do they have full confidence in that player?
Yeah, it's certainly one of the biggest position battles that we'll all be watching here over the next couple of weeks. Another one of those position battles is going to be at the safety position, where we know Reed Blankenship's going to be at one spot, but is it going to be the rookie second-round pick, Drew Makuba? Is it going to be the former third-round pick and Sidney Brown? Will it be somebody else lining up next to Blankenship? I think who mans that second safety spot? That's going to be the position I am most looking forward to, especially because we know safety is a very important position in Vic Fangio's defense. The way that Blankenship and C.J. Gardner-Johnson played last year was pivotal. We know that Cooper DeJean roaming the middle is very important as well, but who lines up at that spot? That's going to be one of the other big storylines of camp.
What's it going to come down to? What do you think Vic Fangio, the ultimate decision is going to be at safety?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's going to always be something that we can see in practice. Okay. I do think that it's going to be the mental side of things. And what I mean by that is the understanding of their responsibilities in their various zone coverage concepts. Hey, if we're lining up in this coverage call and the receivers are lined up, a 3-by-1 set, what are the route combinations that they can run to attack us in this way? And then how am I going to defend it? If I understand that, hey, you know what? It's a 3-by-1 formation, so I've got my eyes on the number 3 receiver on the other side, and that number 3 receiver breaks his route off at 5 yards. Where do my eyes go next, right? And so the guys that are better equipped to answer those questions as fast as possible, that's the guy that's going to be starting. That's the one that you want to be trustworthy, understand what your job is, what everybody else's role in the defense is, and then you're able to make those plays. I go back to Zach Bond being mic'd up in the Super Bowl and breaking down Cooper DeJean's play and asking him on the sideline, hey, did you make this play because of that? Like those kinds of plays, the guys that are going to put themselves in a position to make a play like that, that's who's going to be starting in this Vic Fangio defense.
I'm going to stay in the secondary for my number 2, and that is, can they trust Keely Ringo as the second corner? I'm expecting Keely Ringo to be the starter. I think it's going to be Quinyon Mitchell on one side, Keely Ringo on the other side. I know there's Adoree Jackson there. I know that you could potentially move Cooper DeJean to the outside, but I think it's going to be Keely Ringo. And so I want to know, do they trust Keely Ringo? Keely Ringo has the physical tools that you would want at that position. Did you know he's younger than Quinyon Mitchell? We haven't said that in a while. Keely Ringo has speed. He has size. I think he can cover. You want to see maybe the ball skills a little bit better, and that will come with just more reps out there, right? More plays on the ball. But I want to know, what does Keely Ringo look like by the end of the summer?
If it's not Keely Ringo, who's the starter?
I'm going Adoree Jackson.
Yeah,
and I think that's why Adoree's here as insurance.
Yeah, I think that the time is now for Keely Ringo. Right, a former 4th-round pick that the Eagles essentially spent a 3rd-round pick on because of what that trade was to acquire him. I think that when you factored in his youth and the development that was required, now that you're in year 3, the time is now for him to be able to step into that role.
So then what's your third one here? What's the third thing you're watching this summer?
I'm going to go with the rookie first round pick. I mentioned Drew Makuba, the second round pick. Let's talk about Jiad Campbell. And again, I don't anticipate we're going to see him too early in camp. I do think that it's probably similar to a Cooper DeJean timeline. You think that's fair in terms of his return to the field? We didn't see DeJean until late in training camp and preseason last summer. I think that's kind of what we're looking at timeline wise here at the very least with Jiad Campbell. But to me, again, kind of like through the grapevine, what's the plan for Jiad Campbell in year one? What's the plan for Jiad Campbell moving forward in year two, year three? Is he always going to be an off-ball linebacker down the road? My gut, and based off what I've been told over the course of the offseason, is he's going to start at linebacker. Is he always going to be that? That's going to be a fascinating question to answer.
When do you think we first see him with the edge rushers?
I think he'll get mixed in one-on-ones, as we get. But again, it might not be until late in the summer when we aren't necessarily always privy to those reps.
Sure. So my number three here is, do they have a reliable number 3 wide receiver? And we've spoken about Jahan Dotson throughout the summer, and that Dotson finished the season well. We saw how he played week 18 against the Giants when the starters didn't play. You saw him make plays in the postseason, in the Super Bowl. But we haven't seen him in a full training camp. If you remember, the Eagles acquired him late in the summer last year, right? Right before that third preseason game. So I want to know, do they have a reliable number 3 wide receiver? And so Jahan Dotson is the candidate for that. You also have to think back to the fact that A.J. Brown missed time last year. Devontae Smith missed time last year. When those guys were out, Jahan Dotson didn't step up. And I think this offense just functions better when you have that third guy is a weapon for you, someone that the defense has to account for. Otherwise, naturally, I think defenses are going to try to get the ball funneled to Jahan Dotson. So he's not a late arriving player anymore. He's had the full offseason with the team. He's entering this contract year. I want to know what Jahan Dotson looks like.
What's your gut tell you as we sit here right now going into camp on that topic?
I like Dotson. I've said that since they acquired him, I was in favor of the move. I admit I was a bit underwhelmed, especially I think back to the Tampa game last year and the New Orleans game last year, and I expected him to do more than what he did. But then I think back to like the Jacksonville game, and I think back to the playoffs, and obviously the Super Bowl. He made some high degree of difficulty catches. I think when the ball's thrown his way, he goes up and gets it. Now, you want to see him get open more. You want to see him be a downfield threat a bit more. But I am intrigued by him. Look, guilty as charged in terms of the first round pedigree. Right. I like those first round pedigree players, but like there have been flashes here. This isn't like Nelson Agholor. Like I've seen plays, whether it was in Washington, I saw that big touchdown that he had on the south end zone and Lincoln Financial Field when he was with the Commanders. So I've seen plays from him. I need to see it on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, I'm with you. I tend to lean towards I think he'll be fine in that role, but it would be nice to be able to see it here this summer.
Yeah. So that here is what we're looking for in training camp. The Eagles report to camp on Tuesday. Their first practice is Wednesday. You can find comprehensive coverage on the PHLY Eagles Show and on allphly.com. We will be back on Monday. Julia does an outstanding job producing. That's Fran Duffy. I'm Zach Berman. Thanks for watching.